All right. So this is the first episode of whatever happened to the movies. It will happen some Thursdays, or it'll be about a movie instead of the video games. So this is partially a celebration of the new year and partially a celebration of my reaching the 1K milestone in terms of subscribers. Joining me today is Albeleo from Illinois, and we will be doing our commentary of Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. So we won't be showing you this movie itself on the screen. There's the link to where you can watch it in the comments or live stream chat, and that's what we can do. Copyright is the rules, and copyright will be obeyed as far as it is possible. So, hope you're all doing well. Okay, and I'm just going to do a brief introduction before the commentary begins. So, Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust was the second animated film regarding Vampire Hunter D. It first one was released in 1985 to limited theatrical and video release. The second one was released in late 2000, and it's based on a series of novels and comics by Hideyuki Kikuchi, or I'll say manga because that's what you call the Asian comics. Previously on this podcast, there was favorite game sequels and most disappointing game sequels, and we talked about Halo 3. Those videos are there. They're also in video form, so you can watch them edited to be shown as videos and not live streams, which we replayed them while we were out for holiday obligations. Novels are written by Hideyuki Kikuchi, and they first were published in 1983. First novel was released to film in 1985. The second animated one is loosely based off Demon Death Chase. It has some divergences from what Demon Death Chase included, and that is Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. Post-production was actually done in the United States, in California. That's the interesting part about it.
This is also the same artist who did the concept art for Final Fantasy's entire series.
That's correct. That's very much correct. It is, and it's what's interesting is that Vampire Hunter D has its Easter eggs in Final Fantasy, Castlevania, and so on in terms of what happens, and we'll go over that once we watch this film. Um, and to make it a little not boring, there will be video for Vampire Hunter D playing in the background while it plays. This won't be copyright of any kind, but it will help make it not too boring. Besides you hearing what we're commenting on. So now we're watching Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, and I will do a countdown so that we are both synced as to when we watch this movie.
All right.
So I'll do a countdown, and we'll do it from 10 to 0. So I've got it on my side. So start.
Ready when you are.
All right. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. I really love how it starts zooming out from the moon and showing you all the ruined castles and scenery.
Yeah, it basically literally starts with Castlevania.
Yeah,
because of all the jagged spire design.
Yeah, it very much does. I mean, it's the Castlevania castle is essentially eldritch horror in terms of how they designed it, and it's actually a living monster in the games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the closest analogy I can think of is maybe the 1997 movie Event Horizon or Warhammer 40K, where the Chaos space vessels and various things they have are all alive and very much evil.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. An apt comparison too. I appreciate more how gothic horror is supposed to be, because I never really watched too many of them, and I've been playing not playing, I've been going through and actually watching all the movies I missed throughout like December, because
Right,
apparently Hollywood just front loaded like all of them onto us.
right,
And watching this intro, it's it's very much akin to Nosferatu. I don't know if you've
right.
seen it, but
Not yet,
Nosferatu is
not yet.
amazing. It's
I've heard some
fantastic.
good I've heard some good reviews about it actually.
Yeah, no, it's without a doubt, and I'll probably spoil like my top 5 kind of video that I will eventually make. Yeah, no, Nosferatu wins hands down. There's nothing that compares. Like Dune is weak compared to this.
Right. Yeah, and not only that, but if you in the you know how you saw the crosses bend and everything's getting cold around
Hmm.
Meyer? That happens in the Hammer Dracula films when Dracula is played by Christopher Lee is coming close. And it's interesting that they took that element of those Dracula horror films and put it into animation. It's a nice
Yeah.
little tribute. And of course they had a guy, Magnus Lee in the first Vampire Hunter D movie who is
Hmm.
pretty much modeled after Christopher Lee. I mean, he's got the
Pretty
name
much.
Lee and it looks like him. Even better how they do this what appears to be a 3D for the title when it introduces you right here.
It's so well drawn. I love this art style, this era of anime. I really wish we didn't move on from this.
Yeah, this is actual cell shading. Back in the 2000s, there was this Appleseed, well, the Appleseed movie from the 2000s, and it was cell shaded animation. So there's some computer assistance in it, but the way it's done is just great. I mean, you have all these little cells of color, and that works in making the animation work as it
Hmm.
does. Think of it
His
as,
sword is so his sword is so obnoxiously long.
yeah, it is. It is. Uh, yeah. But I just love the fact that this opening scene right here is done with just silence, no music, just emptiness.
Hmm. It's so nice seeing actual Catholic representation. Wow, look at that. Weird. I don't know why Castlevania couldn't do this one.
Right. I even then it's kind of weird because I mean a lot of what Castlevania initially did they borrowed from again the Hammer Dracula film starring Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing.
Hmm.
But it's cool like you know how they put that same themography into this film like they're bending crosses and the ice cold wherever the vampire moves.
Right.
And it helps set up for the eventual twist that they have in this film too. Because they took all these elements of that you associate with Dracula as an evil entity and they put it on Meyer Lake. So when the plot twist comes up later, it will be a little bit of a surprise bait and switch, or more complex than you think.
How does somebody have $10 million out in the middle of out in the middle of the desert like this?
I wonder how much the inflation was actually, because if the money's devalued badly enough, like dollars are essentially worse than cents. But I think they just did it for the audience because it what the money that they're talking about depends on if it's Japanese or English for this film.
Yeah,
But
that's true. I like how you get that like proper front view of D, and he's a human V. His shoulders are so wide because of the spalders compared to his
Yeah,
waist.
it's great. I like it. It's just because of how it kind of conveys that he's this legendary character, even in this world. Like you know how they use size to create this iconography for somebody? It's like he's coming out of a painting,
Mm-hmm.
which really helps to show that gothic atmosphere. You know, like you've seen some of the older paintings where the people obviously have like these exaggerated proportions and size.
Yeah. Yeah, like this dude's Ben Affleck ears.
Not quite the chin though. But yeah.
I like how these guys just roll up on some dude like, "Hey, have you seen these people?" It's like,
Right. And they see that.
don't know what possibility he may have.
He also gave him the neck check from Blade as well.
Yeah, yeah.
We want to watch Blade, the first Blade eventually. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, the intro to that first movie is so damn good. It's like that's hard to top that one, especially in a vampire movie.
Well, especially because
Granted, this
the
one's
guy
pretty
didn't
good.
know what he was going into, so that was the best part of it.
Oh yeah.
And just realizing everyone became a vampire in the town.
Hmm. Oh my, that I forgot that sound effect was in here. That was pretty weak.
Yeah, it's one of the parts I don't like quite as much about this one.
That thing better have some serious brake calipers to stop at that speed with that much momentum.
Oh, it's basically a train engine, but it's weird. Like one of the big things in this series is that at least when you go into the manga and novels, is that you don't know exactly what year in the future it is. But when you find
Hmm.
out what century it is, it gets wow. It really is that time. It's that far in the future
Right.
because it's like because people under the vampire rule are essentially living in the matrix where they've got a very distorted history that's given to them as propaganda. So,
Hmm.
but obviously Vampire Hunter D himself knows it, but most other people don't because they haven't lived that long.
Hmm. I appreciate the little showcase of all the characters
Oh yeah.
and how they're all like some semblance of uh like Castlevania 3's characters.
Oh
You know,
no,
like
even greater is so there was a not it's obviously not considered hard canon, but in
sure.
Japan they made a choose your own adventure book called Legend of Satanic Castle. It hasn't
Oh,
been
okay.
translated to English. And Alucard's daughter in that one is called Layla, and she looks almost exactly like Layla Marcus, including blonde hair and having a cross on
Oh,
her.
really? Really?
Yes, but
Huh,
it's obviously it's a choose your own adventure book that's only in Japan, only released and published in Japan.
gotcha.
I wonder if they got the name of Layla Marcus from that. Chaos. I like the whole gothic art style in the movies. It resembled art from the time of Vlad the Impaler. I'm Chaos. My brother. I think that was intentional. Very much intentional.
This is like the one real criticism I have about this movie, at least right now, because it's been so long since I've seen it. I wish this was the shot that revealed D. I wish we didn't get to see him like looking, here's the bounty, go get my daughter back. I wish they showed this first, because this would have been like
So,
like this,
so,
that's the reveal.
so what you think is they could have done this first and then done a flashback of when he met the father and the brother to get the bounty? That could have worked.
Yeah, I do think that because it's already like late night, so the next morning he could acquire the bounty, and then he would go, right? Like, and
Right.
then like I think that's how they should have played it, because it's like that reveal in Jurassic World when the kid runs up and you've got the music swelling, the John Williams score, and then he opens the blinds or the shaders on the room, and then when it opens up, it's like there's the park, then it's in its glory, and this is what John Hammond envisioned originally, right? Like, it's a beautiful idea,
Right.
and I just wish that they did the same thing here. Like, this is like, again, it's like my only real complaint with this movie, because it's so damn good.
Right. It is. I mean, cell shading animation is it's nice. It it's essentially very advanced way of having very detailed pixel animation, and I mean incredibly detailed. Not quite pixels, but it's like I said, it's animation where they take many different cells and give them all colors
Mm-hmm.
to make this to give you the details.
And Layla takes off on the unicycle, which is like the Record of Venus War unicycle.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a number of manga I've seen with the unicycle being driven around. I mean, it could work. I mean, they have
Mm-hmm.
bikes that are on one wheel. I mean, I'm a little disappointed with the whole heat thing because when they've had Dusk Till Dawn and parts of Castlevania Nocturne Recollection, and in those ones, it's like you're a half vampire. You kind of need the sun or need some exposure to it, or else you will turn albino, and the sun can start hurting you. I don't know. I think it's a better idea of a weakness.
Mm-hmm.
But that's me. I mean, they had to do something to make sure uh, Vampire Hunter D isn't without a weakness.
It also helps to show his determination in trying to complete the hunt,
Yeah. Oh,
And
I understand that. I can be stubborn and I want to finish a job.
he's also it also emphasizes like how powerful he is, considering, like he's a Dhampir, they still are weak to the sun, but he's just riding through the day.
Yeah.
It's also really funny that most of this would probably like not be a problem if he just stopped wearing all black.
Definitely.
It's like, put on some reflective tape, bro, you'll feel better. And there's the Fallen Star Destroyer that would later be inspired in the fucking episode 7 of Star Wars.
I can't believe I missed that one.
I don't think it was like a Star Destroyer. It's just funny that it looks
it's
like it.
likely it does. The nobles or the ruling vampires had ships in space, but some of them crashed from an actual war against aliens, and a lot of their space technology is wrecked by this point.
Oh yeah. And now here he is tricking all the eye lasers from Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past.
Yeah.
Hated those fucking things.
Right. I was thinking more of like sensitive, such as the like the floor pressure plates in the first Mission Impossible movie, where if anything touches it, it sets off an
Yeah.
alarm.
Mm-hmm.
And here it's like if if it sees anything moving, it will shoot at the moving object, but it can't tell if it's like a rock pebbles like he was throwing or if it's a person.
Yeah.
Oh, Layla, why are you doing this?
I like how she was at least smart enough to go after D.
Well, yeah. Then figured it, at least follow him to get the bounty, yeah. Which is the thing I'm wondering, like, aside from like reality shows like Dog the Bounty Hunter, it feels like like a lot of our television and media companies that are in the West don't seem to understand how to do bounty hunters as a fictional TV series. Like, at least now they don't seem to know how to do that. I mean, they give crime detective dramas, fine, like Criminal Minds, Bones, or so on, but they don't seem to understand how to do bounty hunters. I mean, Mandalorian got sidetracked with all this stuff about the the baby that's part of Yoda's species, Grogu.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And the series starts out saying, okay, he's a Mandalorian, he's a bounty hunter like Boba Fett was, but we get sidetracked off of what the series promised at the beginning. But Cowboy Bebop, Outlaw Star, and I get One Piece is technically pirates, but they do bounties sometimes.
Yeah, I can't say that anything that has come out in the West recently has gotten bounty hunters or bounty hunting in general correct for a while, because it should feel very much like a Western of sorts, which is I
Yeah,
think why Firefly worked as well as it did. But
right.
man, it's just I don't know, like it's not as vicious and there's not as much there's not as much uh focus and understanding on like how things were in the West and then translated to now.
Yeah, it's there. I understand why Mandalorian got sidetracked, but I still would have liked it because we got a video game, Star Wars Bounty Hunter, but that was a long time ago during the time of Episode 2, where you play as Jango Fett and you have a series of bounty missions in that game.
Mm-hmm.
But this is, but like we saw, and we were sidetracked ourselves a little bit, like we saw in the part where he lands on the carriage. That was the perfect payoff that we had from what we saw at the beginning, where they gave Meyer all the signature evil aura of Dracula, but it's like Meyer didn't kill her yet. What's going on?
It's also right on pace too, because we're 20 minutes into an hour and 40-minute movie, and there's just a very faint hint that like maybe there's a possibility that he's not actually doing anything to her, and she is doing this of her own volition.
Right.
And in doing that too, since we've got a little intermission here, it's
Right.
like he's this I it drives me nuts how much Bloodlust like exists and absolutely got Alucard correct in the portrayal.
Attributes
And then
are
you get
correct,
then you get to the Castlevania, and the twins get him, and it's like, no, please, like, this isn't.
Well, I mean, the thing is
Stop.
that the series had the problem with him at the beginning. Like they treated him like a a modern teenager, but he isn't like that. He's a very quiet person, and that's what makes me not feel trustworthy about if they ever try to do something or Ecclesia.
Yeah,
Shanoa is a
he's an
very quiet.
aristocrat.
Shanoa is a very quiet person, like Alucard is. She doesn't speak
Yes.
much. She doesn't show a lot of emotion, and I just feel that with what they did with Alucard, and they took away that quiet essence of him, that they
Yeah.
would mess it up.
Yeah, that they would turn Shanoa into a girl boss, and I would I'd probably commit arson, but California beat me to it.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be. I just have to wonder what the forest. I'll end it with here. I have to wonder what the forestry practices are. In Pennsylvania, they do stuff like firewood and controlled burns right here. I think
Yeah, yeah.
Illinois probably does that too.
We do.
That shows you how close D got.
Oh yeah. And that's only because of her distraction.
But I think what's great is that even though we'll later watch 1985, but in 1985 there's somewhat of a contrast in how D acts with regards to Lamika versus how he acts with regards to Layla here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here he's obviously swearing off there shouldn't be any more half vampires, but when he meets a half vampire named Lamika, he's like, no, you don't have to die. Please just come with us, come with me. And it's a big contrast, which makes you wonder which of these movies is chronologically first. I'd have to look up chronology of the novels, but it's interesting. Some days I think
because go ahead.
No, some days I think that the 1985 is treated like it's after this one.
I'm pretty sure 85 is treated as earlier than this film because things have progressed worse over time. I did look this up a while ago. Maybe it's just me not having enough knowledge of the series, but I'm pretty sure the 85 and this one from 2000 both are both like a summation of a complete story arc.
Right.
That were both separate by a long amount, because the guy who draws it obviously does so much work for Sony, or not Sony, Square Enix, that he doesn't really get much chance to write Vampire Hunter D because the series is apparently still going.
Oh yeah, it's Hideyuki Kikuchi is going to do it till he hits the grave. I'm not joking.
Till you're 90. In South Park land, we have to deal with California smoke.
Yeah, well, in Pennsylvania and the Midwest, you have to deal with Canada smoke when they have a forest fire there.
Yeah, we're just returning the favor, Shadow.
This is one of the best sneak attacks in this whole movie.
Yeah, no one will see us in the bright light in the one-way corridor with my giant hammer.
It's just how this Barbara member works. It's different in the novel, of course, but he goes along wherever there is shadow. So he travels along the actual shadow cast by light.
Mm-hmm.
So he, in this case, I think the way he did it was he followed the guy's shadow, which is against the wall. That, and they wrecked the light. He traveled on the wall and went up Nolt's shadow, and that's how he got him.
Yeah. I do appreciate that this series, this movie, actually takes the time to also try and make like unique enemies for each of the hunters to deal with, because it's very much like Evangelion in that regard, where every angel has something different. There's always a gimmick. Like it's like video game bosses that progressively get more interesting.
Yeah.
Instead of just having like just a big brawl with this monster and then a big brawl with that monster, you know, it's
Oh yeah. I'm actually I was thinking of a concept, and I'll get it written down eventually, but I was gonna do one of like, why do we like video game series like Mario that are top sellers, even though they have the same villain over and over? Uh-huh. So that's how he did it.
mm-hmm.
Your buddy got like a knife through his lung from behind. That's what
Yeah.
happened. Oh, even the blood is like showing the heart pulse too.
Mm-hmm.
Even crazier is how Nolt had he painted the cross on his face.
Right. I do suppose maybe this is an issue. Like they should like the guy should have. Well, actually, I suppose I'll have to pay attention to the fight because I'm pretty sure like Nolt should have like wrecked the crap out of the dude, but maybe he probably should have been fought back so that they figured out how to fight him in this moment. Because there's no reason for him to not kill the hunters and then just catch up with
Right. Although it helps with the Gorgons from Castlevania.
mm-hmm.
But it helps, I guess, that Layla and Borgoff figured it out later. But it just sucks that Nolt is gone that easily
Yeah.
at the when they find the water tower.
Those are like the exact same lizards on the walls from Zelda Breath of the Wild. Like the head shape and everything.
And you see the snake women, that's pretty much how they show Medusa in the Castlevania games.
Yeah, the Gorgons, yeah.
And Lord
I like how there's just a crab that comes out, pinches a couple times, and then leaves. It's like that old Honda Element commercial. I can fit 6 people. I go 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, and I have great fuel economy. What are you? I'm a crab. I pinch. Fucking Gollum.
Oh, look at the chat for a minute. Okay, Chaos. If only the old guy actually knew that D was just as old as he was. That actually is funny. He is actually as old as he is. About 10 minutes to an intermission, so just some time to breathe.
Yeah, how old is D? Like,
he was born around 2000, so he's 10,000. Well, okay, spoiler alert, this is the year 12,191. Yeah, I know that sounds familiar. So D is 10,000 years old, just like the old man is.
Shit.
So yes, everyone, I spoiled when it is. It's 10,000 years in the future from now. Yeah, Shadow, we do need more stuff like this again.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's not a
But the problem
coincidence.
is Japan's not going to do that. Like none of these companies seem to be understanding this. Like we need to have less, and less is more. Like they're just not going to do it though.
Yeah, more or less, but dark ages happen sometimes. Preserve what's good.
That's not exactly the best line.
No, but that one of the three Barbara talks a little too much, anyways.
Yeah, the ultimate.
There's Grove.
Also, the music is just great.
Indeed.
So you don't even necessarily have to have like big action scenes. Not that this isn't an action scene in general,
It is.
but it's interesting because like in the same way I mentioned about each of these creatures having their own abilities and whatnot, they're each of these fights also has their own like unique scene. Like this is not for this is not for D, right? Like
Right.
he's a character, like this is his movie obviously, but like this is very much Grove's scene, which
Yeah.
works. I'm totally fine with this.
Animated tends to do a good job at this in terms of giving each little character their turn
Yeah.
in the story. I mean, say Trigun, you have one that's really about Bash. You got an episode that's really about Nicholas, and you got one that's really about Meryl and Millie. And there's no coincidence that this movie is going to be turning 25 this year.
Stop
That's
it.
why. Yeah.
It's not 25. Oh yeah, that's right. Those horses are cybernetic.
Yeah. He also has a cyber horse in the 1985, which helps you realize,
Hmm.
yeah, there's a different time involved.
Stay there till you rot. I don't think you understand how long you're gonna have to hold your hands like that, buddy.
No, I don't think so either. Uh-oh. She basically becomes whatever material she touches, so that's bad.
Hmm. Yeah, see, like, but that's what I'm talking about. It's like it's a great way to just show off what these characters can do, which makes for more unique animations and design. it's miraculous that not one of these characters got killed in this moment.
Yeah, they didn't have seatbelts on and they crashed. Okay, I was wrong. It's an oil derrick, not a water tower. Why did I think water tower? Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'd be happy if the rights disputes for this movie are done so that you can just go watch it on Amazon digitally. I mean, you can get it on Amazon, but you have to order it as a Blu-ray or DVD.
Mm.
I would also be happy if they come with a 4K disc of it.
Dude's chin is as pointed as his hair.
Yeah. And it's cool that his hand has a mind of its own, too.
Maybe he didn't have to hold it. All right.
All right, but this is where they finally figured out that he travels along wherever shadows are cast, so
Yeah.
where they're finally going to get him. You can do it, Kyle. You can do it. Yes, Chaos, go Kyle. Let's go, Kyle.
Yeah, see, like, I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel like the Nolte should have had this dude pegged when he swung at him on the
Yeah, they
in
didn't,
the
they didn't realize it. They hadn't met him yet, so they didn't know they travel in the shadows. Then Borgoff pointed out to Kyle, so Kyle just like boomeranged him. Darth Maul,
yeah.
if you will.
Mm-hmm. How'd they flip the truck?
I don't know.
I mean, like, I see they've got ropes and everything, but it's like, good lord, who did it?
Maybe they're secretly Spartans. I don't know.
Right. Somebody say warthog, and then just punts it.
Yeah, speaking of which, everyone, Halo Reach is next week, and then there'll be Vampire Hunter D Part 2, where he finished this movie the week after that. I know it's a little bit of a discrepancy, but I really want to do the Halo Reach review and get the Halo ones done.
Mm-hmm. I gotcha. Oh, it's written in German.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Oh, I've never noticed that.
Yeah.
You know, comparing Carmilla to Urzabet, man, I hate how something like this exists, and Castlevania blew it so badly.
Well, I mean, okay, another 1 minute break. Yeah, I mean, it's like a lot of people don't realize the part where it goes off. The part where it goes off is that Castlevania is the name of Dracula's castle. That's what the whole
Right.
title is about. The castle's alive and it's evil. Even Lords of Shadow does the living castle part, so even they didn't get that wrong. Even though it's an alternate universe.
Yeah, I know, but like they took so much of the fun out of it, you know. And in Order of Ecclesia, it's like it's now this you know, like all of the railings and the floors are just carved bone, and everything looks like it's made out of something that was living at one point. Like it's such a unique design. Like I'm
It is.
obviously falling more and more in love with Ecclesia, but
It looked like something out of like the Alien movies for the space jockeys.
yeah,
Almost.
exactly. It looks like the Xenomorph Hive.
And I do like how they take that kind of design and use it in this movie specifically. They didn't quite do
Uh-huh.
that in 1985. More wreckage from the Alien War.
Hmm.
So there's a few minutes left. I'll bookmark where it stops.
Sure.
Uh,
Drug.
and of course, there's the token weird, creepy guy. In this
I
one,
I think I actually read that as he was like trying to like warn her, like, you know, you're a woman, you're alone in the middle of a village that you have no understanding of, you know?
yeah. Well, I'm just saying
Like,
Greco tried to do that with Doris, but he obviously had his real intentions there.
oh yeah, yeah.
All right. I'll finish. I'll stop it at the "I was one of them" scene.
Hmm. The caliber of those bullets.
Yeah. What's crazy is who the sheriff is. You realize that's John DiMaggio voicing that in English? Bender.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And yeah, the old Mr. Polk, the voice for him has obviously passed away.
Oh,
Sadly,
has he?
2 years ago. Yeah.
Gotcha. Are these enough caps? I hope these are enough bottle caps.
Yeah. Fallout. Yeah, it is very Shadow. It's a very nice style for how the castle is. Carmilla's
Hmm.
castle. Get to it.
Makes you realize like there are many more Dempir out there if
Well,
they know about them.
right. They're being extra cautious. They aren't going to even trust a half vampire here. And old man Polk is going to explain why.
Hmm. Such a good scene.
It is. I even have it on my channel. It's my most viewed video clip.
Oh, is
That'll
it?
change,
Nice.
yeah, but that'll change eventually, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Give it time. I know people often get a little pissy about them saying dem peel, but like at least it's consistent and they're not saying dumb peel and then
Oh, I can't
dampier, you
blame
know?
them because I've pretty much spoiled this is 10,000 years in the future, and I think that maybe they just don't say the same words because language evolves
Mm-hmm.
over time, and I just see it as that. The
That
old
gun
man
is
with the big gun.
gigantic.
That's what he was working on. Yes, Chaos Old Man Poe is it's Poke, but yeah, he's the best.
Probably should have led with I was one of those kids. Put your guns down.
Yeah, but I feel that him revealing that was it was built up. You know, he built it up to the point where he'd finally say it. Yeah, I was one of those kids. That's how I know the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
story.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So after this, after D leaves, we're gonna stop and catch up on the comments and do our last little thing before we continue next week. Or not next week, after Halo Reach.
Mm-hmm.
There we are. So back to the studio. Uh, so it's bookmarked at 48 minutes exactly. So here we are back in the studio. We'll catch up on comments and let's see what they have. Shadow Master. I love how the castle is just a distorted depiction of the Art Nouveau moment. Yeah, it's interesting. It's also like as we mentioned earlier, it's also interesting how D is, old, really old medieval art in terms of how he's portrayed as larger than life, and when you see him on the screen too, it's nice style. And so to finish this up, this will be concluded in part two on January 23rd. Next week will be Halo Reach, and I will be playing Simon's Destiny, which is a first-person Castlevania mod for Doom at 1:30 p.m. today. So that should be fun as well. Meantime,
Yeah, I want to catch that one.
it should be pretty fun. In the meantime, I want to say, everyone, thank you for stopping by and joining me in this celebration. Thank you, Albeleo, for being my guest today. We will continue on January 23rd, and next week will be Halo Reach as a review. So it should be great. Albeleo will be featuring his presentation of his favorite and most disappointing sequels in February. That should be fun as well.
Yes.
So without much further ado, I wish everyone the best. A happy new year. Goodbye, Chaos. Goodbye, Shadow Master. And until we meet again, farewell.
Have a good day, everybody.